There's a recent video of Sachin Tendulkar on social media in which he's seen serving his mom a freshly cut mango. That video tells us so many things. It talks about a loving son, talks about an affectionate family man, talks about, of course, the greatest sports person this country has seen, and it also tells us one more thing. It talks about how simple this man is apropos of what his career has been like. Welcome, Sachin.
Thank you so much.
Today, as the master is on the brink of turning 50, I'm going to talk about those little things and how he goes about doing them with simplicity day in and day out. Welcome to Network 18. Given your conversion rate, I'm wondering it's only a matter of time before you get to 100.
I hope there is DRS. On a lighter side.
So, what has been going on? What I'm sure there are thoughts going on in your mind as 50 approaches. And what is it like?
I still don't feel like I'm 50, honestly speaking. I'd much rather put it differently. 25-year-old with 25 years of experience sounds better. It's been a wonderful journey. I have no complaints, no regrets. 24 years that I got a chance to play for a country has been a huge honor and a dream come true. That is all I wanted in life. I did not want to be anything else. From the age of 10, I started chasing my dream, and to be able to do that for 24 years, couldn't have asked for more.
Let's talk about life post-retirement. The last 10 years. What have these last 10 years been like? From the outside, the way we've been tracking you, a few things obviously stand out.
Yeah.
Your love for golf, which seems to be
it.
growing by the day, yes. And your penchant for driving seems to be the same. You love your cars, which we obviously
Absolutely.
get to follow on social media.
Yes.
And then the amount of time that you've been spending in the kitchen these days. The other day, I saw you make mango kulfi and your eye for detail. And then the last thing is the kind of traveling that you're doing, exploring new places. We are getting to see different things. So what's happening? Talk about these 10 years.
No, 10 years I've done whatever I felt like, to be honest, because before that, when I was playing for India, then whatever the schedule was finalized, I had to work everything around that schedule. Now I have the comfort of planning my schedule. So I do that, and then the priority is obviously the family and friends. So important family occasions, those moments I don't want to miss, because there were occasions earlier when my children's birthdays, Sarah's birthday or Arjun's birthday, I wasn't there, and there's not much I could do, so I wanted to be there, but I was in some part of the world playing for India. So I was just hoping that when they grow up, they'll understand that I was out and missed their birthday for a reason. So number of special occasions like that. But now things are different. I'm getting more personal time, family time, and other things. Various commitments keep happening around that, and something which I've kind of always felt that I should be doing at a larger scale is, like I said, second innings of my life, I would like to bat for India. I want to continue doing that and score even more runs, by helping less privileged ones across the country. And there is so much need. So we were doing that earlier as well. But what we have done, post retirement, is we've kind of structurized that and identified certain areas, certain verticals where we would want to focus more. And the areas, three verticals are the health, education, and sports for children. So my foundation, Sachin Tendulkar Foundation, of course my name is there, but the captain of the ship is Anjali. Being a pediatrician, it helps because she thinks differently. She is extremely committed and extremely driven by this, because we all believe we have a solid team, and we all believe that we are in a position to impact lives, to impact less privileged ones, and work all around the country in these three verticals. Uh, uh, there are tribal areas where they don't have as much, and with those limited resources, life gets challenging. So how could we impact their lives? How could we give a meaning to their life? How could we not allow them to lose hope and chase their dreams, help them achieve their goals, is what we want to do, and that is what we are trying to do. It's something which I want to focus on, along with other things. Are number of things are happening in life, but this is another area where I would want to focus and spend my energy, and create
In
create
fact,
some impression
the
there.
Sachin Tendulkar Foundation website, which speaks about all these things, I was noticing that you've been doing this from your playing days, right? I mean, it's just that after retirement, maybe you've got more time to probably focus on this.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, earlier we were, but it was not that organized as such. Now it's structurized, and we know our team's involvement is uh, on a very good scale. Though we keep pushing each other
Right.
as much as we possibly can, and that is how we are going to produce results. So feeling happy about whatever has happened is good, but we are not satisfied, and that is how it was on a cricket field. We would want to continue that in the second innings of my life as well.
I still remember in your retirement speech, you just spoke about the greatest partnership of your life, and I'm sure this is bound to kind of give the best results. Which reminds me, after retiring from the game, how long did it actually take you to kind of realize that, listen, I mean, I don't have to wake up and go to the nets. I mean, life has changed. Maybe it didn't happen the very next morning, right? How long before you actually got used to the fact that you could slow down a bit?
See, my retirement was gradual. So it wasn't that I suddenly retired and from tomorrow morning, oh, what do I do? Where do I go? It was never a situation like that. I first retired from ODIs, then I retired from IPL, and then I retired from Test cricket.
That's great.
And I always wanted that one big game for India. I didn't want multiple retirements. So just that one moment, and it came at the right time.
What a moment.
Playing a test match for India, home ground, we won the game, and that victory lap was incredible moment. So I always used to wonder how would my last experience on the field would be, and I can't thank everyone enough, because that experience is something which has 10 years down the line we are still talking about it. And when I woke up the next morning, I have this habit of making my own tea and all that, either coffee or tea, whatever I feel like having. I did exactly the same.
Okay.
I sat at home, and I was, it felt a little different. Yeah, I don't need to now start preparing for the next series or the next match, whatever. I need not think about all those things. It did feel that way.
Sachin, those memories start rushing back. Tell me that entire what we saw, after the game got over, the presentation ceremony, all of that was impromptu. Like all of that was happening real time. I mean, how much of that?
Actually, the match was first of all a 5-day game,
Yes.
which didn't last 5 days. On the third evening itself, we were doing
Yes.
this interview, and I still remember post-match presentation. I was down there along with my teammates, and thinking that this is the last time I'm standing with the team. It's never going to happen again in my life. I'm never going to walk on the field as an active Indian cricketer. And I was in the dressing room. I said, if we have a press conference on the sixth morning, so 5-day test match, then we finish this function, and we had organized a press conference on sixth morning. So I said, 6th day, by then, 2 days would have passed. Right now, people would want to know my views and all that. And I should speak. So when the Star TV guy came to me, he said the program is, the losing captain would be called. There would be man of the series, man of the match, and all that. Then they will call you, and then the winning captain, and then you guys, once the winning captain's interview is done, then you guys do a group photograph with the trophy. I said, what is my role in this? He said, you will be called. Ravi was going to interview me. He said, Ravi is going to ask you 3 questions. So I made a request there. I said, is it possible that I speak for some time rather than answering 2-3 questions? And I said, the field is yours. You can go and speak for as long as you want. I said, this time I'm not going to speak for 3-4 minutes. It may be a little longer than that. Though
But
I
until then you had
ended
not-
up speaking for 20 minutes apparently.
And until that, you were not prepared for anything that you were going to.
No, I more or less knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's why I'd written down the names, because I didn't want to forget anyone. So I'd written down the names, and each person I kind of knew what I was going to say. But number of things happened there, and then I saw Saurav, Rahul, and Lakshman
on the
this
screen.
mega screen, and I spoke to them also through that. So those kind of things kept happening, but it wasn't planned. Everything was unplanned, and it's just a message from up above that do it now, and I did that.
I was looking at the enormity of what happened in those years, and the value of gold is something that stuck in my mind. And I was thinking, we're talking about a time when there was no technology, no internet, nothing. I mean, you're talking about the cricketer who became the first person in India to sign a professional contract.
There was no internet and all that you mentioned, and that rings a bell. I mean, I'll tell you one story, which I've not shared with many. In the first half of my career, I used to come back home from long tours with multiple video cassettes. And both me and my brother Ajit, we would sit together and go through each and every ball played on that tour. And then the areas where I did well were also marked, and the areas where I needed to make certain changes, those things were discussed. And that's why, I would kind of remember what has happened, because I've watched that multiple times. Though it has in reality happened only once there in the middle, but off the field we've sat together and watched that 50, 60 times. And those were the days. And that's why when you spoke about internet, YouTube and all that, nothing was there. Video cassettes were there.
In 1995, when you signed your first deal, you brought professionalism, into the scheme of things. And in 2001, when you renewed the deal,
Yep.
you kind of course, the professionalism bit continued, but then you opened up the floodgates for India to look at a new future from a sports perspective. Is when I think the mothers agreed to allowing their child to play cricket with a career perspective.
Yeah, I remember when I signed a contract in 1995, certain people didn't agree with that, and there were also opinions on that. Now I'm chasing money. In fact, it was the other way around. I wanted to be totally focused on cricket and nothing else. And that was a big moment in my life, because it allowed me to only focus on cricket. With all said and done, one may want to be focused on cricket, but if you've got pending things, you are bound to take some interest in those things and make sure that everything is aligned properly. I didn't have to do all those things. Before that, it was my brother who looked after everything, and my father would also at times get involved. But after that, little bit here and there, family involvement was there. When I got married, then Anjali also became part of it. Her father would also sometimes take interest and help us out. So it was a big team working on it. But we knew that the major job was being handled by Mark and his team.
Zedlac Premium Agarbatti and Dhoop, official prayer partner, Delhi Capitals. कैसे करते हैं ट्रेड? ट्राई 5 पैसा.
A mega initiative to make gender parity an attainable reality. HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective.
Presented by HSBC.
Co-presented by HCL Tech.
Knowledge partner Deloitte. Industry partner Vicky. Associate partner Reliance Industries Limited.
If a diagram of a human body has to be drawn, and the number of injuries and the number of times that you suffered have to be probably marked on the diagram, I think it's the easiest lesson for a kid to understand what human.
Well, I mean, the number of injuries that I've had in my career, I'm also kind of 50% doctor. 50% knowledge is dangerous, though.
Have you ever taken your doctors out for a meal? They deserve it.
I mean, I meet doctor friends. I mean, and now the ones who've treated me, they're friends, and then they've played a huge role in my life. All of them, the doctors, the physios, masseurs, they've all played a big role in my life. If they weren't around, then things would have been different, because they've traveled with me. They have spent a lot of time on me. I mean, it could be whatever time of the night. If I've called because I'm stressed, they have kind of spoken to me, calmed me down, and said, "Don't worry, everything is on track." I'm an athlete. I want to get back in action as quickly as possible, and I used to get impatient. And there is no alternative to that. You have to be patient. You have to just allow your injury to heal. I mean, if it's going to take 6 weeks, you have to be patient for 6 weeks. I mean, I tried everything possible under the sun to cut that time short, to bring it down to 3 weeks, but sometimes it was not possible. There were occasions where I managed, and there were occasions where I pushed too much too soon, and there was a setback.
Right.
So experience teaches you plenty of things in life. It teaches you how to manage when things are not going well. And I had my tennis elbow surgery, and in 2009-10, I had tennis elbow and golfer's elbow on my right arm. So you would have noticed that there was a period where I used to have bands on both my arms. So that happened actually at the beginning of the season. I remember somewhere in 2003-04 or so, Rahul Dravid had tennis elbow, but that was towards the end of the season. And then Rahul told me that for 3 months he didn't pick up a cricket bat. And when he started playing again, his injury had healed. But in my case, it happened at the start of the season. Right. So I had to manage that, and eventually got operated on the left one. But the right one, because of my experience with the earlier injury, I knew how to manage this one. And I managed, and luckily there was no surgery required.
How complicated is the sport becoming? Rules, and rules, like across formats. I mean,
it's only becoming complicated because we continue to change rules. If we have a set of rules and we kind of stick to those rules, if they're working well, then it won't be that complicating. But to be fair, we also have 3 different formats. There are not many sports where you have different formats. I can't think of anything else. Very, very few, if at all. Tennis, you continue to play with the same set of rules, be it men or women. I mean, just the number of sets are reduced.
Right.
But the kind of rules that they play with, they're exactly the same set of rules. So cricket possibly might be the only one where there are 3 different formats, and the number of balls used, the number of overs you have to play with that particular ball. In Test cricket, it's minimum 80. Then ODIs now it's become 25, and T20. So number of fielders in the ring. Test, there is no restriction. So cricket is possibly the only sport which is slightly different to any other sport.
To conclude this wonderful conversation, this is the year of the World Cup, so we cannot not talk about the format, which is the 50-over World
There
Cup.
is World
coming
Cup
up.
happening every year.
Oh yeah, there is a World Cup now every year, but again, a 50-over World Cup which is happening this year.
Yeah.
There is something that again it's been on my mind, and the fact that it's a format that in general has been in discussion in terms of what is the future of the 50-over format. At a time like that, the World Cup in this format is happening in cricket's biggest market anywhere in the world, which is
Yep.
India. Maybe that's why I feel that the excitement is so huge and so much. But post this World Cup, do you think that there is a need to sit down and try and understand 50 over cricket once again from a wholesome all round perspective and try and understand where this format needs to go into the future? And your thoughts on the
that
World Cup
happens.
also.
I hope that happens because to change the format, there are reasons for that, and then I had kind of thought of this long time ago, and I'd shared these ideas also earlier. I felt that a coin cannot decide the destiny of that game, because just because you've lost the toss, you cannot be bowling second when there are dewy conditions. Bowlers cannot grip the ball, and side batting second, unless they bat terribly, they will not lose. They have to just go and play normal cricket because the conditions are in their favor. Ball is not going to swing after maybe first 6-7 overs or 4-5 overs literally. Once the ball gets wet, it's not going to swing, neither will it turn. And with 5 fielders in the ring, there is hardly a bowler can do. And that I feel is a big imbalance between bat and a ball contest, because people come there to watch both. There should not be a day where there are two bowling machines at both ends and one side has to just outbat other batting side. So, I feel there has to be fair balance between bat and the ball, and that's the only reason I was suggesting that a side bats first for 25 overs, then the other team comes and bats for 25 overs, and wherever they have stopped in the first half of the game at 25 overs, the second half of the game they start from there. They don't start fresh. If they've lost 3 wickets, those 3 batters are out of the game. The remaining batters will bat in the second half. So you don't have 20 wickets, you only have 10 wickets. And it does a lot of things. It involves support staff, because otherwise what happens once the game has started, for 50 years support staff cannot do, just keep sending few messages here and there, stand on boundary line and just tell the bowlers, oh, this is what I feel you should do. But you cannot bring the whole team together, have a brief meeting for 3-4 minutes and tell them strategy A hasn't worked, let's move to strategy B. And so there'll be dynamism. That is missing today. It's becoming too monotonous, and even spectators know what's going to happen from over 15 to 35 or 40th over. They also know the pattern. But by introducing a newer format, sometimes there is an opening partnership, couple of right-handers are batting, and one guy gets out and your standard left-hander is number 3, and you are in the 23rd or 24th over, you'll say, okay, the remaining 7-8 balls, I'm not going to send my left-hander because there are a couple of off-spinners bowling. And the left-hander proper batter would also think, why should I take undue risk for just 6-7 balls? You send number 9, number 10 and say that anyways, if at all, you get to play 5-6 balls. Treat these balls as 5-6 balls and just go and enjoy yourself. That also gives a different dimension to a cricket match. Spectators feel some action is going to happen. And then immediately you bring the other side in. So there are changes, but what it does is, if it's a rain interrupted game, then you would have had played first 25 overs, and you would have played those 25 overs differently, knowing that second half of the game there might be a rain. So if there is rain round the corner, you adapt different approach.
Right.
So, a lot of strategies will come into play.
I think I have an idea already. I think the patrons of the game need to gather in Bandra once every couple of months to just listen to you ideate and speak what goes on inside that brilliant mind of yours. Thank you so much, Sachin, for taking the time out and doing this lovely interview with us.
Absolute pleasure.
Much as I need to stop it. I would have loved this conversation to keep going on, but while it can't, we wish Sachin Tendulkar a very, very happy 50th birthday, and I hope you enjoy this lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.